Thank you for joining me here on Changing Variables/Burning Variables. This is the Burning Variables portion. I received a vision, or two visions, on July 9th, 2020. This vision that I'm going to share with you today is one of the two that came. The first part is called The Rise. That was posted earlier. And the one that I am speaking of today is called The Cave and Congress. The way that these visions came to me was in a switching back and forth. It started off the cave and Congress, and then it switched over to the rise, and then back to the cave and Congress. Please feel free to click on the rise after hearing the whole of the cave and Congress. During the prayer period on that day, I was addressing COVID-19, so I'll begin. The first thing I remember is seeing hills and a valley, and men scattered throughout the hills. I couldn't see their faces. Approximately 2/3 of the mountains were sucked into a hole. The men who were left were located on the left side of the terrain. The scene switched to a close-up of a cave that was also in the mountains. There was a coal car to the left of the cave on train tracks. There appeared soldiers who were looking into the cave. I perceived that there was some reason they should not enter and prayed. Something happened and it pushed them backwards. I did not see fire accompanying the force, and I did not see that any of them were hurt. They disappeared and the coal car moved on its own accord into the cave. Next, I saw 5 or 6 men in long white clothes, head wrap, and cream vests. There were 2 U.S. soldiers, one of an advanced position, and they were meeting with the men beside the cave. A sound was heard, and they all turned their heads towards the cave. At this point, I was given a view of their faces. I saw pure unadulterated shock and surprise, but unfortunately, I did not see what they saw. At this point, the vision changes into a wide view, and now I can see the vision in a picture form. So the first part was as if it was live action, like I was watching a movie. And this part is in a picture form. So the cave is now on the right hand, and a white line appears beneath the cave and goes left to a picture of the Congressional Building. The next scene is a picture of Mitch McConnell. He appears and then disappears. Between his appearance and his disappearance, a mantle left him and fell to the Congresswoman Maxine Waters. The next scene I see is the same picture of the Congressional Building, but now there is a white dividing line that goes across the bottom in connection with the building. Beneath it, I see black soil. Between Congress and the black soil is a shunt. The shunt looks like a turkey button that pops up when it's done. It did pop up. And the next person I saw in the soil was the gentleman who was at the head of the CIA at the time, Director Comey. He was as tall as the shunt and was trying to hold/push down the bottom of it with his foot because it didn't reach all the way down to the bottom. His face was stressed and worried, but his foot was eventually removed and he disappeared. God extended what was there. Again, I saw a zoomed out picture of Congress. Offices replaced the shunt going down into the soil. These offices were presented with lines and boxes like an administrative diagram of a company. To reiterate, the boxes where you would have the support staff, i.e. supervisors, departments, and their managers below them, is the layout that was given for the offices. These offices had men in black suits and ties working in them. I will refer to them as worker bees from now on. God used these men to extend the shunt to its completion. There was a singular individual who was the main man. He was the point. He had an association with a gentleman who could intervene and stop everything. He was a blond-headed man. I was shown the point man walking across the face of Congress, the building. He had a briefcase, but there were papers hanging out. None of them fell to the ground. In the next scene, I saw this man drinking and conversating with a man. He did not reveal or tell anything during that meeting. The view changes back to Maxine Waters, Congresswoman Maxine Waters, who now has the mantle. She has an overwhelmed expression on her face as she looks through the papers. There was a hole on the side of her desk that represented something that would threaten her and her progress. She was then removed from that quote-unquote cliff, but the danger was still present. I did not get information on whom or what the threat was, but it was made clear that she would not be taken by it. The scene changed, and I saw her enter her office in the morning with coffee in hand. Her face changed into a look of shock as she looked around. People, some of them who were dressed in the worker bee uniform, but without their coats, were in her office. I'm not sure if they were the same people or not. I didn't see their faces throughout this vision, but I will say that in the beginning the worker bees were all men. This group included women. The next segment shows a lawyer who looked like he was from a past administration. I did not know who this person was. To me, he looked like Kenneth Starr. This lawyer would be the one orchestrating the prosecution and would be able to direct those who were working on it. The next scene, I saw a concrete circle that rolled right in front of me from left to right. Finally, it zooms out and a white line from Congress goes back to the cave I mentioned at the first. This time, I saw the group turn around and I saw what they were looking at. The person who came out was tall, had a hooded robe that obscured his face, but I discerned that this person was evil. I did also see a skeleton-like hand emerge from the darkness as well. This was the end of the vision. Again, the vision was given on the same night as the vision of the rise, which is also posted. It went back and forth between the two. According to the notes that I can find, the vision concerning Congress was first and continued to right before Director Comey appears, and then the cartel, the rise concerning the cartel was given, and at the end of that, it went back to Congress to the section, as I mentioned before, right before Director Comey is seen and ends at the cave. All right, well, please take this to God for confirmation. Thank you for your time, and have a great night, a great evening, and a good day.